Tero? Hello?
Yes, I was on mute.
Yes, okay. I thought it was me on my side. Thank you, Hilda, for saying so. I think you're going to have to run it over us again.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Tero Christians from Success by Design. I'm your host today. And today we have our conversation, our webinar about actually taking your business idea into a business. You know, validating it, trying to see, is this really a viable business idea? And if so, what are those steps? Which is what our guest speaker, Alvira Fisher, will share with us, as well as what do I do, so to say, after this. And remember, the reason we're having this series of webinars is because of COVID-19. And right now, because the world is in such a flux, it's important to me that myself and the people that I know, we share the information we can to help others. So last month, we focused on health and safety around COVID. This month, we're focusing on actually validating business ideas and possibly starting up that business or that side hustle for yourself because you've been affected by COVID. And joining us today is Alvira Fisher. Alvira, maybe just wave to the camera so that they know that's you. Okay, so Alvira is a Cape Town board-colored female wife and mother of two. She's very passionate about social change. She's recently embarked on a new career in social entrepreneurship, which she'll tell us about, where she aims to utilize her business acumen and her skills to contribute to building a sustainable new businesses with strong social influences and benefits. So Alvira, background-wise, prior to this, has like 20 years of financial services experience, mostly within the governance practice section. And she also, her highest qualification, she has an MBA from Stellenbosch. On the page you'll find, we have links so you could go visit Alvira's profile, and we'll also be giving out her contact information. But firstly, let's say, Alvira, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Tero. Thanks for having me. And thank you to everyone who signed in as well. I guess hopefully there's some value that we can create together in this quick 30 minutes.
Yes, yes, yes. And guys, it's about sharing. So feel free to pop your questions in the chat box. I mean, we're going to share information, but also it's about helping you out. So put your information in there. Okay. So where do we start? I mean, I have this idea. I've been affected. And how do I know it's a valid idea? Please tell me a bit.
Right. So I guess I always talk to everyone about ideas are so easy to come up with, right? And we all want to be, especially if you're in an entrepreneurship space, everyone believes that they can be a business owner and their idea is great. So I think I always talk to sort of clients and I say to them, figure out yourself first. So are you really interested in running a business and do you have the stamina to do that? Because if anything, and then we can talk for a few minutes about my experience later on, the last 7 months has been the toughest 7 months of my life, you know, toughest and the most exciting because I think I'm starting 2 new businesses, but at the same time, every day getting up, you are alone, it is you. So it's about your mindset and it's about how ready are you to get there. But that's your personal person, and I think, you know, you can get a coach that can help guide you through that kind of thinking. And if you're definitely not sure, there's a lot of things you could do to figure out, do I want to be a business owner? Do I want to be an entrepreneur? Or do I like the idea of it? And sometimes it's okay to sell off your idea to a consultant that can help build the business, because that's what specialists and consultants do. But I think it's about that sort of real desire, personal desire. But now let's start with, you have an idea.
Yeah.
So if you have an idea, my first step would be is test your idea. Test it in conversation and test who's interested in this idea, who else likes this idea, because from that conversations that you're having, you're essentially building a small customer network of like-minded people. You're sort of bouncing off the concept. And if everyone will allow me, I just want to make an example throughout this webinar around a lady named Lucy. So Lucy is an HR consultant or specialist. She's a recruiter. She freelances for different companies and she places roles in the market. And when COVID happened, Lucy didn't know what to do with her experience, right? Because she was waiting for a vacancy to pop up in the inbox that she can go and fill, and no one was hiring, no one was putting out vacancies, no one was doing anything. And when Lucy and I had a discussion, I said, but Lu, what is your asset? You know, your asset is that you've interviewed so many people in your time to get them job ready, to send them to that client that you're placing for. And we figured out that Lucy had 4,500 CVs in her mailbox. And that is a definite asset to hold. And Lucy was passionate about people. She was passionate about helping them get to that space of their career. And then we created a brand called the Interview Coach. So Lucy, at the moment, she's sort of started a business. She's now sort of in the market, and she's starting to brand herself as the Interview Coach. And that was really her discovery of wanting to do something with an asset she had.
So just to break it down a bit more, so Alvira, this person obviously came to you. I mean, I can imagine COVID started, nobody's going to hire. You know, her bread and butter was, I'm a recruiter. This is what I do. This is my specialized skills, what I've carved out over the years. But I actually need people to be hiring people to make money. And that's a lot of us have been affected in that way. I mean, our industry immediately stopped, right? And then you went and you took account of, so what is your personal skills, your professional skills kind of thing, and you looked at how you could actually merge that into a business offering, right?
Yes.
Now what I think is so interesting about what you did is that being an interview coach right now is probably the best thing, you know, because how many people are not being retrenched or things like that, who need to know what is that edge in terms of how that I do that. So that's amazing to me. She was useless, or she became irrelevant in the pre-COVID setting, but now suddenly she's reinvented herself as an interview coach, and to get you to the next step as somebody, I mean, she becomes so much more relevant. That's amazing.
Exactly, and when you're a business specialist like me, you know, when you're looking at different kinds of businesses, the common thread right now around an idea is your idea an asset? Do people want it? How do you exploit the asset you have? And there's various kinds of entrepreneurs. There's survivalist entrepreneurs that started businesses because they had no other choice. But at the same time, those survivalist entrepreneurs have found markets. So the framework that we're going to talk about today is pretty much stock standard, whether you're a big sort of Steve Jobs one day in the future, or whether you're actually just that one-man band selling something out of your home. There's a certain methodology that the business specialists sort of practice and preach, you know, and that's sort of a little bit of what we want to leave everyone with today. Yeah. So I think if you have an idea, is it an asset? Talk to everyone, ask your friends, ask neighbors, ask those that's in your circle. Is this something that you would buy? You know, that's sort of that first step of knowing if the idea can turn into a sort of fruitful business later on.
Yeah, and I mean, what you're talking about in business terms is what we actually talk about market analysis, validating the idea. You know, a lot of people
lightly, yes.
You know, in one thing. But a lot of people think if I have a great idea, you know, like I should, couponing and branding bags, a fantastic idea for win. A lot of businesses actually fail because people do not do the proper research about that idea. You know, some people create a business because this is what they think will sell and that this is what the world will do. I mean, I've literally seen some very interesting examples of what people think should be a business, but it's not based upon any valid sort of research, not even asking their friends. They've got it in their head that this is going to be a business. And yes, sometimes on other occasions that works, but it's very rare. But if you don't have the time and the money to play around and put in, you know, I'm going to be the unicorn, the 1 in a million. I'm going to put it out there. Nail polish is not going to be for hair extensions kind of thing. If you don't have the time and money to put on that, then you need to validate your idea. You need to check.
Right.
Yes.
Agreed. Okay. We'll talk some more about that word money later.
Yes. So once I'm validating my idea and I'm asking friends and families and so forth, I'm finding out different things. Maybe there's competitors. You know, maybe what you thought you could sell it for is less than what you can sell it for, what other people were thinking. You know, what sort of happens during that process?
Yeah, I think that process really starts to form your product or your service. I think through that engagement, it's very informal, it's very loose, you know, so you're really starting to figure out the the customers you think you had, what are the expectations and what do they want? At the same time, like in my business that I'm building at the moment, often whenever I talk about the concept and people go, oh, it's like Uber. And I'm going, I'm not trying to compete with the big Uber, Uber's global. I'm just Alvira over here in Cape Town. But that gave me enough test results, if I can put it that way. So now I do start and I do sort of say, I'm building a business. It's an online platform. It's a sharing of rides. It is a known thing. Uber does it. So now I sort of use that conversation in my intro so that I don't have to hear the question of like, oh, is it like Uber? And I'm like, yeah. So I'm like Uber, but I'm not building Uber. But let's talk some more kind of thing. So really asking and testing it gives you insight into the things you need before you've spent, number one, any money. Number two, built a website. Number three, registered the company. You're getting a lot of free market sort of insights into your product or service that you want to do around your idea, right? So really that is sort of the golden opportunity when you start talking to different people about your concept, your idea.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking of it in another way. I mean, you start to find out, okay, you maybe thought you could sell it for 100 Rand each, but then you find out, okay, maybe the market is only selling it at 250. That means between 100 and 250, there is so much range for me to actually go in and have a pricing advantage. I don't necessarily have to go in at 100. I could go in at 200. And we know there's many different business reasons around how you can play with that and why you should play with that. But also, you might find that, let's say, your service could be a component or an add-on, right?
Yep.
I mean, there could be complementary services, people that you could start partnering with in terms of saying, hey, you do this, guess what, I do this. And the two
exactly.
Could actually find that it's opportunity.
And then sometimes coming together like that differentiation, although it's the same as what everyone else is doing, that differentiation is what makes your business all of a sudden different to the next. So absolutely copy paste as wild as you want, but know your differentiation, right? Know what you're offering that no one else in this market is offering. Whether it is price, that's also a strategy, but I think for me, I'm really much about sort of value creation, and if you can create value in what you offer, it's difficult for someone to replicate that value, but that value is the effort that you're going to put into it. So just on the slide that you got up there, Teddy, it's like sort of at this stage, you've spoken to people, you know what you kind of want to offer, it's a product or it's a service that others want and others think, yeah, it's a good idea, I'd buy that. That sort of answer you're looking for over and over as you're testing it. And then you ultimately also start to hear things like, who are the competitors? Is it like this? Is it like that? Or is that the same as what that other company was doing? So you start to understand, who am I competing against? And that becomes sort of that takes your idea from sort of, it is a workable possibility, and that's sort of the next step where you want to be. You want to know more around the idea than what you had when you just had sort of I would say the brain part in a way.
And I mean, when you want to know that, then we start to talk about actually making your plan and sort of as a basic in business consulting, we talk about the business canvas, which is actually what, when you do business planning, you're walking your way through, right? So can you tell us a bit about the business canvas or business planning?
Right. So in the most sort of concise way, your business canvas is your one-page business plan. So obviously, as an academic in business practice, I've seen many business plans that are sort of 100 pages long, and there's a place and a space for that. But at the moment in the current economy, a one-page business plan or the canvas gives you enough insight to know your next steps. So I like it because it's a quick and dirty, but at the same time, it does not mean you mustn't do the due diligence of your full extent of your research and your business planning. So let's just park that. And then, so let's talk about the canvas. So the canvas really has, I want to sort of leave with 5 things. So the first one is your value, and let's come back to value in a minute, but value becomes the center point of this organization that you're building, this idea, like, what am I giving? And Lucy's value in her example was that she wanted to give confidence. Because she's an interview coach, she's not giving you the job. She's not saying, I can place you in a job, but she's saying, I'm giving you interview practice so that when you're in that environment or in that hour session, you know exactly what it is your strengths, what your weaknesses. You don't have to fumble and sort of, oh, how did I feel? How did I sound? I wonder if I'm going to get it. You know, that's what Lucy's there to offer you. It's that sort of confidence boosting kind of thing. So that's her value. Confidence was her value. The interview coach is a business, right? So let's talk about quickly the Ks. The Ks are anyone you're going to partner with, any of your key resources that you're going to hire in your organization, and any of the key activities that you're going to do. So really it is sort of the cushion around your business. Like if your business was a house, this is the walls, it is the foundation of your house. It's the window of your house. It's the door of your house. It's the rooms. It's the walls, right? Then the Cs. The Cs are sort of your customer segments, your customer relationships, and your customer channels. That's pretty much how am I going to sell? How am I going to make my house inviting? How am I going to furnish it? How's everyone going to feel when they experience my house and they walk into my house? So those are the Cs. Every business has costs and revenue, right? So revenue is your income statement. It's sort of how you're going to make money. And how you're going to spend your money, on what are you going to spend your money. But and then you circle back into that value concept. So if Lucy, for example, was selling confidence, she needed to figure out who's the customers that she wanted to sell to. So she automatically, through that process of interrogation, discovered that she wants to work with people that didn't get the job. That one candidate that sort of feels like really upset that why didn't I make it? Why did someone else get the job that I didn't want? So that became a customer segment that she wanted to target. Then if I talk about the channel, she wanted to find sort of candidates that are professional, because she had been placing in professional services ever so long. And she realized that LinkedIn is a good platform for her to talk. And so channel was a place where she kind of decided to promote her services. And in relationships, she definitely knew it's a one-on-one, right? So I need to find time with you, have that one-on-one, because that's how I give you my value. That's how I sort of depart my confidence into you in terms of my product. So those were pretty much Lucy's C's. And then we go to Lucy's K's. So the types of partnerships that Lucy's starting to form in her business. Sometimes partners take long because you want to develop your product and service and you don't know who you want to partner with. It's like a marriage in a way. But she's now, she's slowly starting to, hint, Terrell's getting married. But she's slowly starting to build relationships with corporates, right? So corporates also have internal candidates that are looking at internal positions. So what a great place to partner, anchor herself, and also make a little bit of money around her brand.
Yeah.
The key resources, let's face it, I know you got a question there, T. I'm going to get there now. The key resources are things like she could do it on her own, and she can pretty much kind of get an online calendar booking system. So she doesn't really need people right now, but maybe later she might need someone to help her assess and filter the candidates and all of that. But right now in her business model, she just needs herself, right? And then the key activities, she kind of figured out, either I'm going to coach, I'm going to give you interview practice, or I'm going to review your CV. But pretty much her key activities became things that she could exploit her asset. Herself she was the asset. And once you kind of figured out the C's and the K's, you will know sort of, okay, this is how I make my money from that. This is the expenditure I'm prepared to take. I'm not going to hire an admin staff. I'm not going to build a fancy website, because ultimately I'm going to talk mostly on LinkedIn as an example. Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to keep quiet for a minute.
I actually wanted to make a point around key partnerships and to say that you and I are actually a great example of that. I mean, we both play in the consulting space. However, you specialize in idea to startup phase, and I'm specializing in optimization, problem solving, scaling type of stuff. So people would think, oh, right. You're actually rivals, but we're not. We specialize in different parts of a business, and for different types of businesses and different stages, you need different types of people that you work with. Yeah. On the point of resources in your business, I just want to make a point to everybody that there's so many free options for resourcing. So for example, Alvira mentioned a online calendar type booking system. Guess what? On Facebook, You can set up your booking times for free on your business page. There's an app called Calendar, which is also free, which you can also set up and link to your website for bookings as well online. We're making you more accessible. And I mean, you can just you can contact Alvira or myself to find out, you know, what are the free options for that. In fact, if we have time, I'd love to know from the audience, actually what maybe we can play through some of the ideas and actually just have some quick sort of adding value in that case. Okay. So that's
and I think, sorry to cut you, Terrell, but that's exactly, I think, the process that I'm trying to, I think that I sell is sort of, having an idea is great, and we need lots of ideas because we need lots of entrepreneurs in South Africa. But actually putting pen to paper and thinking about your idea in a structured way, and then literally just taking this picture of the canvas and starting that process, that takes that idea into, oh, this is what I'm looking for, and that's almost that next action or that third action that you want to kind of get to. It's like sort of, what do I need to do today that kind of gets me to either research something towards that idea becoming an actual business, or how do I explore it? But if you don't know, then I would say you don't, you know, in my audit days, we had the saying of like, if I can't see it, then did you really do it? You know, if there's no evidence of something, then I can't trust that, you know, you've really done a review or you've done an assessment, you know. So it's pretty much that principle of writing it down takes you to that next action.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you, in my opinion, ideas are like brain farts. There are many, and there's so many of them, and you can easily become a couch entrepreneur, meaning you go around saying, oh, I had that idea, means nothing. There are many people who have ideas, who start businesses, and it doesn't work out, and there are many people who don't have unique ideas, but can really do something very well. And they can be a great competitor in a current market. So it doesn't have to be something no one's ever thought of. Take what you've got, your skill set, if you're passionate about it, do it and do it best. And Alvira, I just want to come back to this. If you want to Google this, this is called the Osterwilder Business Canvas. Okay, but can you tell me, why is value centered to this?
So everyone's got I think, a feel for what is value. For me, value is about the heart of who you are and how that transforms into your business. So an example for my business that I'm building at the moment, so ride sharing, home sharing, Airbnb's done it, Uber's done it. And this is not a sales pitch for my startup, but it sounds like a little bit of a sales pitch, but really Uber's done it, right? And then I kind of go, but I don't want to create the next Uber, but I do want to use the concept of sharing as a opportunity to start a business. So I'm very gung-ho, I'm big on sharing, because sharing means that more than one person benefits. So I love the sharing economy, and this model comes from the sharing economy. So what is the value that I'm trying to create? And the value ultimately was, I had to sit down and sort of say, so ride sharing allows people to share their lifts to work and home. At the same time, it allows the person who's driving to get a bit of income for the petrol that they've spent, or for the inconvenience of going through, I don't know, a suburb to pick up a colleague, or etc. So ultimately, the action is what I was chasing, and the value I was creating, and the conclusion I got to now is that I'm actually trying to help people earn extra income. So all of a sudden, I went from building a ride-sharing app, but I'm actually trying to put cash back in people's pockets. I'm either trying to save a passenger money, or I'm trying to give the driver a 25 to 50 Rand or 100 Rand extra. And the platform, like the app and the concept of the website and all of that is just a means to get to that value. And as soon as I understood that, I then knew what I'm selling. I'm selling you financial freedom. I'm selling you an extra income. And then value becomes the core essence of that business. You know, you kind of then know, okay, so am I going to spend more money on building a fancy, I don't know, subscription service model, or am I actually just going to do it basic, simple, easy, because otherwise I have to price it. I have to put that extra money into the price of the value, and then it starts to test sort of, is 25 Rand value or is 50 Rand value? So automatically it anchors you, right? So value anchors you Lucy's value was about confidence. And if she wasn't instilling confidence in anyone, if she was giving you an online assessment to say, do these 5 things and then you're going to be great, that's not value.
Yeah.
So she knew that value was looking a candidate in the eyes and giving them tips on the things they struggle with.
Yes.
So that's why value becomes quite centered to anything that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it definitely aligns with what is, when we say people should have a unique value proposition, as in this is what you're going to get known for, you know? So people even know you, oh, you know what? Lucy gave me the confidence I need to go out and get that job. And that's why, Alvira, you should go and see Lucy. That is what people are saying about you. I went to the shop and I had the best quality of item, or somebody helped me pick it out. You know, this man came to my house and he did such a fabulous job. You know, it's amazing. These are what people remember you for. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've got 10
Taking
minutes.
the time.
Yeah. So that's the last bit.
So much fun. Yeah. Okay. So the last bit, I mean, I can't stress enough, test your market. Ask as many people, ask everyone that you can think of. I mean, I had a mentor that sort of said he was a serial entrepreneur and his gig was really going out trying to figure out what's the next need in the market. And he said eventually he would go to Bryce and he would go like, so what problems do you have at the moment? Because as soon as you knew that you're solving a problem, you have a business, right? Because maybe there's a market for that problem. So he became so hungry to understand sort of what everyone else grappling with, because he wanted to create more and more businesses that solved problems. But really it is sort of like figure out what you love to do and figure out sort of what is it that you ultimately are bugged about, like, you know, and there's the saying in the business sort of world that sort of if you find a problem and there's no solution, that is actually the business that you are wanting. And especially if something has bugged you for a long time. So we've got lots of things in the school area, or we've got lots of, I mean, Africa's got so many problems. South Africa's got so many problems. We're not saying, you know, compete with Metro Rail and bring the next fast train system into, I mean, there are big guys like thinking about those problems, but I'm talking to the individual that sees things every day, that doesn't like it. You know, if you don't like the fact that your local Spar doesn't do deliveries to your home, do something about it. You know, ask people, would you like a delivery service? Like, you know, and that's sort of if you're looking for ideas. But if you do have an idea, I would say absolutely ask everyone, do you think this is a service you would subscribe to? Do you think this is a service that you would pay for? How much would you pay for it? And do you feel that there's a need? And that sort of immediately tells you whether your idea is worth it or not. And if you're getting all those validating yeses and you're sort of overwhelmed with the sort of response of positivity, I would say then tackle the canvas, you know, tackle sort of your entire ecosystem of how would this business really work if it was a business? Would I be online? Would I be offline? Would I be selling it myself? Would I want others to sell it for me? And once you have that sort of canvas developed, that's when business planning really starts.
Yeah.
And you go into each section and you really interrogate it. But by then you already know you are competing against everyone's perception of Uber. But then you know, and once you know, I think that's the benefit.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
we're still on. We've got a few more minutes. We're on half past
the time. So just before we end, I mean, I want to share a word with you. So firstly, Alvira very generously has offered to do a 15-minute free WhatsApp consultation with anybody. So take note of the details and I'll send it out as well afterwards. A big thing for me in my business that I practice is the following statement up there: revolve around your customer and more customers will revolve around you, right? And for me, one of the biggest edges anybody can get right now, specifically in the South African market and African overall, is our customer service. Hence why there's so much opportunity for us to actually become competitors even to current businesses, just based on that alone. So that's just a little something out there for some people who's thinking, you know, I need a business. What am I doing? What can I do better? Think about that. Think about the customer. People go back if you're doing a good job, right?
Yeah.
So Alvira, thank you so much. We have 5 minutes.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, and I want to ask everybody, unmute, let's talk. If there's something you want to ask, let's chat about it now. We've got 5 minutes before Zoom will kick us out. So let's take advantage of it.
I mean,
Anyway.
I just wanted to say, I by chance heard of this via Alvira. We worked together previously months ago and connected by chance yesterday or the day before. And Alvira actually invited me to come and listen. And I'm unemployed at the moment, so yeah, lots of food for thought, and I will be chatting. But thank you so much. I've really well done. I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, that's great, Hilda. And I know Hilda and I have a chance to talk tomorrow as friends, so I think I'll be doing a bit more of that sort of interrogation in that ideas and that thinking space. But thank you for the acknowledgement, Hilda.
No, well, it was great. Thank you.
Yeah. No,
super fun,
Hilda. I mean, this is what we're doing it for, to help everybody at this point. Because for me, I believe if we don't do it now, we're not going to have an economy a few months from now. So we need to get
absolutely
and able.
Yeah.
And you know, another thing that I think I see a lot on YouTube, there's this ad of, I think it's Live Plan. Live Plan advertises online business model canvases or something like that, or a template that you can download. And they start by saying, so you've got an idea, but you don't have an MBA. I love it. It's funny. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's okay. I do have an MBA, but I wasn't the objective of getting the MBA, right? But and you don't really need an MBA, right? So obviously there's so many free resources just on YouTube and just on the internet, you know, and you just have to tap into those communities and you'll start to sort of see, oh, okay, this is what you do when you have an idea. Like, you know, but sometimes tapping into people like Tedel, myself, and those that you sort of, that have studied the profession of, I think, business skills or business acumen, we have a bit more intensity around sort of the concept of the frameworks that are being spoken about. So it really is nice to sort of leverage that from time to time.
I think the one thing that really stood out for me is when you actually said, what has been bugging you for a long time, and what is the thing that's bugging you, and the thing that's bugging you, do you see that it's actually an issue? And it's actually just the light bulb moment for me. You know, there is something that I'm passionate about, that it bugs me, but also like, where do I start? How do I start? Is there a market for it?
So I guess by tomorrow, you must ask another person if it bugs them as well, and then you'll start to grow that sort of interest, right? Totally, yeah. I mean, for me, what bugged me as being a Cape Townian, I got irritated that everyone sort of was working day to day, living day to day, and not creating wealth for themselves, and it really became an issue for me, and I wanted to find a business that's going to give back to people, and that's how I discovered the sharing economy, and the sharing economy, it's really great. I mean, no one is left unreceived, or I don't know how to put it in a proper way, but everyone is a benefactor of the sharing economy, and that's great. You know, there's models that forces you to kind of think, how am I adding value to this person, that person, that person, and that person in an entire ecosystem of a transaction. So that it's really the modern approach. I mean, the old approach is pretty much sort of one customer, one benefactor, one entity earning the income. It doesn't need to be like that anymore. Not with the internet, not with all the information, not with technology. No, enough. Enough old school. Sorry, I'm obviously quite opinionated on the current business environment or the economic environment. I think we need to talk about it frankly so that we can create more opportunity, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
anyone else? Yeah, sorry, Hilda. If nothing else?
If nothing else, what we've been going through have actually escalated, and it's in our face. So now is the time to talk about it and do something about it.
Exactly. I mean, anything is an opportunity, but I think an entrepreneur at heart. I love ideas. The other day I was standing in the front garden and we were talking about how the dogs needed a bath, and we were just standing in the sun watching the dogs needing a bath. And I said to my husband, like, wouldn't it be great if we could just have an app that sort of say, come bath my dog, and then the van will pull up at the front gate. Just like take the dogs.
Brain farts, guys.
I know. And then my daughter, who's 14, says, Mom, please stop. I mean, I didn't even finish my canvas wasn't even done yet. Like, and everyone just laughed at me. So yeah, there's lots of farting happening in my household at the moment. But I still think it's a valid idea. I mean, I'd be a consumer of that service, and my son agreed with me. He likes clean dogs. Who knows, guys? My next
other
app.
questions. We have 1 minute left.
Sure. Nothing. That's all quiet. That's all good.
You never ask, you never know.
Or maybe they're asking
Eh?